Hello everyone. This wasn't the originally planned topic for today's video, but while browsing through the Communist News Network's website, I noticed this on the front page. It reads, CNN poll, Trump bears most blame for shutdown. I thought to myself after a heated debate about statistics and polling data during the last Cthulhukin and Friends political recap, link in the description below, I feel as if I need to explain myself and why these polls are utter garbage. You'll also have to excuse my voice as I am slightly sick. First and foremost, let's read what they have to say about it. Amid the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, a majority say Donald Trump bears more responsibility for it than the Democrats in Congress, and the president's disapproval rating has climbed 5 points since last month, according to a new CNN poll conducted by the SSRS. Negotiations between the president and congressional leaders have stalled as neither side seems willing to budge on funding for a wall along the border with Mexico. That proposal remains deeply unpopular with the public, according to the poll. Overall, 56% oppose a wall, 39% favor it. That's almost exactly the same as in December. And less than half view the situation at the border as a crisis. 45% say it's a crisis, 52% say that it is not. And then here we see a graphic from the article that shows their data. Very intricate graph indeed. They go on to explain the data, but I was looking for a specific piece of information. This right here. The CNN poll was conducted by SSRS January 10th to 11th among a random national sample of 848 adults reached on landlines or cell phones by a live interviewer. 848. They sampled 848 for this article. Now, I have to give them credit, at least they mention the number. Some articles neglect to even do that. I went into the data that was linked in the article, and this is what I was looking for. Their methodology. A total of 848 adults were interviewed by telephone nationwide, by live interviewers calling both landline and cell phones. Interviews were conducted in English and Spanish. Among the entire sample, 31% described themselves as Democrats, 23% described themselves as Republicans, and 46% described themselves as independents or members of another party. All respondents were asked questions concerning basic demographics, and the entire sample was weighted to reflect national census figures for gender, race, age, education, region of country, and telephone usage. Here's the problem that I find with this kind of polling. As I dug around, it appears as if modern polling practice allows for a mere fraction of a percent to be acceptable when trying to gauge the nation of over 300 million people. In fact, there is even a sample size calculator at raosoft.com that allows for an estimate of sample size based on the total population. However, there is a major problem that this and several other polls are missing. Homogeneous and heterogeneous populations. So one can be fairly certain that with a homogeneous population, meaning that which, in this case, would feel the same as the other person, or how many factors of a set would be the same, age, education, etc. However, there are so many factors that take place in the feelings and minds of the average American, that assuming that people who come from the same backgrounds will feel the exact same is where some error is not calculable. And the worst part is it isn't only CNN doing this. Fortune.com posted this: 69% of Americans don't think Trump borders wall is a priority, poll says on December 12th. While talks of a wall between the US and Mexico border have led to televised shouting matches between national leaders, the rest of America is less divided. More than 2/3 of Americans don't think the wall should be a priority, according to a new poll by NPR, PBS, NewsHour, and Marist. No, they don't. 69% of Americans polled don't think the wall should be a priority. Only 28% of those polled answered that the border wall should be an immediate priority, while 19% replied it shouldn't be an immediate priority, and 50% said it shouldn't be a priority at all. Now, looking at the source, we have two majorly important lines to look at. One, this survey is of 1,075 adults, was conducted November 28th through December 4th, 2018, by the Marist Poll, sponsored in partnership with NPR and PBS NewsHour. Adults 18 years of age and older residing in the contiguous United States were contacted on landline or mobile numbers and interviewed in English by telephone using live interviewers. Which is important because it informs me that everyone should be of at least voting age to answer this poll, but not necessarily a registered voter, or even an American citizen at that point. Also, which is further validated by the second comment, which states there are 835 registered voters. Now, I do like this poll more because it tends to break it down even further than the previous one, with this explaining not only political affiliation, but education, earnings, and more data. But what I really wanted to know was how this data overlapped. But while I appreciate this data, Democrats made up a total of 276 of polled individuals, Republicans 226, Independents 326, and other making up 17 people. On top of that, the highest categories of people polled other than independent was white, woman, 45 and older, making over $50,000, not college graduated, and living in a big city. So in that respect, you can assume the data simply because living in certain situations would lend you a different perspective on politics. I'm going to call this sample size too small or not diverse enough to be accurate. But feel free to tell me I'm wrong. I will hear you, and then promptly place the thought in this waste bin, where it belongs, because in my mind there is no way to really survey a country's opinion when you have this much of the population surveyed. I'm sorry. If you guys like the video, though, be sure to leave a like and comment below. If you didn't like the video, dislike it. Tell your friends how much of a scumbag I am. I'll keep the video up for them, don't worry. Anyways, have a good one, and I'll see y'all soon.